December 27, 2011, a water tanker crashes into young revelers, turning their dancing into mourning. 27, including a pregnant woman, died.
Unfortunately, the cause that made it to happen still exists to face.
3 years after, survivors tell their story.
Life is not good for me now.
They long for justice and accountability.
But they want us to use the money to defray the expenditure of the organization, which I do not agree.
TV3's Narkwor Kwabla takes you back to Senya Beraku in Revellers tragedy.
During the Christmas holidays, especially on December 27, the people of Senya Beraku come out in their numbers to the beach to swim and have fun and party till sunset, after which the party is taken to downtown. From the beach, this was where the party continued. On that fateful day, the owner of this green-painted drinking bar is alleged to have organized a street party, drawing about 100 of young revelers to the streets late in the night. It is a usual thing for the drinking joints to mount speakers on the street to attract customers. Then at night, it turns into street jams. Ghana woke up to the shocking news. A water tanker with registration number GR6435F had run into the revelers. 27 died on the spot. Then President, the late President Mills, came here. His vice was here. Other political leaders and influential leaders all came here, including the media, stormed the place. Donations were made, but soon the survivors have been forgotten. "16-year-old Patience Abanto, a victim of child trafficking, had just returned from a slave master when the tragedy occurred. Her left leg was crushed in the accident. Unable to sit in class, she quit school. Patients and at least 30 others severely injured were rushed to the Winneba Municipal Hospital. Dr. George Pra is a trauma and orthopedic specialist at the hospital.
Did internal physician for 3 of them, and then pinning for those who had injuries to the very distal portion of their thigh bones. Yeah, so in all we did about 5 operations, and the amputation was the one of the major ones that was so sad.
Grace Emisa is that amputee, 18 years old and in Form 2 at the Senya Beraku Senior High School.
When the car fell down, immediately I wake up. I said, my leg, if they do anything to it, it will not be well. So I know that my leg, they will cut it.
How was your leg?
Because I see that my leg wasn't there.
Had it been cut off?
No, yes, it has been cut off. Only just some of the bones raised up, and the doctors cut it off. Finished.
Aside losing her leg, Grace feels disconnected from her community. The town folks appear uncomfortable to see her leaping on one leg.
Sometimes I feel sadness. When people saw me that I'm working, they said, even still now my leg has become like this. I don't sit down, every day working. But I feel free. I don't feel sadness. I feel happiness. That's what I
know. In a town with a population of over 40,000, almost every household lost a son or daughter in the accident. Survivors like Kofi Anoma escaped death narrowly. He was at a street party with a friend who died. He has an implant in his thigh. Kofi had enrolled at an artisan auto mechanic shop 2 months before the accident. Most of the victims say they did not hear the water tanker approaching, and so they were caught off guard. And for close to 3 years, neither the survivors nor the parents of the deceased have come face to face with the perpetrator of this horrific incident.
Senya Beraku,
Edu Fenin, the driver, was immediately arrested after the accident in 2011. He was remanded at the Winneba District Police Headquarters and later granted bail. His charges: careless and inconsiderate driving and negligently causing harm.
The AG's advice was for us to charge the suspect driver, Edu Fenin, with the offenses of dangerous driving on each deceased and then the victims. So if you do the normal calculation, you get to know that he had close to about 64 counts.
The Driver, Vehicle and Licensing Authority reports on the vehicle confirmed it was happily sent for routine maintenance.
We will charge the owner of the car for non-maintenance of his vehicle.
However, Osei Mensah Kojo denied owning the water tanker.
I'm the caretaker. That's why you call me involved on the case.
Caretaker of the car?
Yeah, but car no belongs to me.
When was the last time we had maintenance of car in one accident?
Last time, the only thing is the engine is breaking. Engine is any quote engine for proceed.
A week later, the police picked up the owners of the 2 drinking bars. One night, we caught up with Uncle Ebo, as he's popularly called in the area.
But yes, with
the speakers, it's a sick wine, and the speakers near Bonyo.
And you know, speakers no bar, we be bar. Na I affinity at the speakers no. It's my poach. A ban or co-op is poaching in their bonjaman. Namunte son by the best now more almost.
Ebo owns the New Vision drinking spot, and he's alleged to have organized a street party without authorization. His drinking bar was closed down after the incident and has since not been opened. All 3 accused plead not guilty. For the first time, Edu Fenin tells his side of the story.
It is better than I'm here. Here and I'm the corporate, and I'm a coyer and I'm the share. To me, my dream said, baby, you be in soon. I walk Kakwan who pay. The duty junction is over. My branch, the Akokolibu, I move for Okolibu. I'm a Tiabric as well. And Tiabu.
Now,
now, me so light me, boy, Benina. No more doss, more quanos. Wow, more doss. No more, sir. And the time I bog no 2 years, bog no ne dear much. Because yeah, any more front time cry too. And the kind of grant man come baby. The bog no zone woman and a rural ne dear much.
Of the 64 charges, Edu Fenin is yet to be found guilty or innocent of any. He's been tried at the Agonas Radio Circuit Court. He has been called to the stands 15 times, and each time the case is adjourned to a different date.
Free remand tried me by Gram to Gram in Yellow Cramp.
Over the past 3 years, the Agonas Radio Court has not had a substantive judge. The court's registrar told me the sitting judge is on additional duties, meaning he leaves his court in Akim's Radio and sits in here 2 days a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays. Hundreds of cases have piled up as a result of this. A resident judge was posted to the court in mid-April this year. Edu Fenin's 16th appearance in the box was when the judge heard his case.
Because I never pay and I was a cromo there. Me a time for titini now. Me and I'm so proud of so cromo. Satan cradin zone, Rodocoton, and a disco soprano. The audio Serena Mesro.
If found guilty, Edu Fenin faces imprisonment not exceeding 2 years or a fine. Back in Senya Beraku, the town folks are not too pleased with government's response to their proposals to prevent another horrific accident.
Unfortunately, the cause that made it to happen still exists to face. Why am I saying this? As you are coming to this town, you can find out that after climbing the hill, you descend from the top right down to the sea. As at that time, we pleaded with the government to give us a bypass. Already we are having a bypass. It was designed by a Dutch woman somewhere in 1948. Because she saw the gradient of the town, that if the hill is there, the road is through where it is now. It's very dangerous.
The District Assembly's immediate intervention was the construction of speed ramps. The tarred road is the main road leading to the town, while the dusty one is a diversion the chief and people want government to construct. This 2-kilometer road meanders through the outskirts but ends up in the city center.
We are saying the speed ramps cannot brake a car. We have failed its brakes. So, 24th December, this last year, 24th December, there's this articulated truck was carrying about 1,000 bags of cement, filled this brake. There's a burden which saved the whole town.
The articulated truck ran into a house at Kolebu Junction, same junction Edu Fenin said he lost control on December 27, 2011. In this instance, the truck driver died and injured 4 other people, including a 9-year-old. This has put some sort of fear in the people of another grisly accident as survivors of December 27 struggle to cope with life. A lot of donations poured in to support the victims after the accident. Late President Mills donated 10,000 for the hospital bills.
That wasn't enough, but as we all know, we have to make do with what we have. And I think so far I can say that we did our maximum to actually let them benefit. We've rendered accounts already to the Office of the President through our Regional Director of Health Services.
9,000 cedis allegedly went to the Senya Beraku Traditional Council.
There were some donations here and there, but unfortunately, the Traditional Council said the money was donated to them for their own benefit, so they have to use it and abandon the children.
A victim support fund with the aim of assisting the injured was also launched. Reverend James Okobano is a member of the board of directors for that fund.
The intention is that some of them are schooling and they must continue to school, but once they are injured, they can't go. So their health first. So we plan having health insurance for all of them, and then also see how we can do to either give them vocation or pursue their education.
You know, we haven't got a lot of lights inside the homes themselves, so they use the street lights as attraction to come into the road.
Queen Mother of the area, Nana Tufuhima, speaking to TV3 in 2011, she and her husband are the brain behind the fund. But the town folks are not happy about its operations.
I say no, for you using Senya Beraku Accident Victim Support Fund, the Senya Beraku is a brand name. So if we are using that name, meaning it's for the children and it's for the town. Unfortunately, I say no. My husband and myself who are organizing our private something. That case is still in court. For I challenging them that they cannot use that name. So if they've collected that money, they should give it to the children.
The first fundraising was done in this church building.
They brought expenditure during their fundraising day, which was too much. And I told them that if we spend the income to them, then our purpose of helping the victims will not be achieved. So we will pay it, but we'll pay it in stock. So that woman, that Queen Mother, Tufuhima, and then the husband were not happy about my suggestion. So I'll become a victim. And I'm a pastor, a man of God. I must be honest. Money that is meant for a purpose must be used for that purpose. And my background is accounting. I must also make sure that whenever anybody asks me about the account, about the money, we should be able to give proper account.
Documents intercepted by TV3 indicates the foundation spent 555 cedis to register the survivors into the National Health Insurance Scheme. The board also agreed to pay 551 cedis to 2 board members as expenses they incurred. However, a 3,270 debt brought forward by the Apadi Lodge Hotel was to be negotiated as a loan to the fund.
They want us to use the money to defray the expenditure of the organization, which I did not agree. So I become victim. Hence, they meet, I'm not invited. Pastor Kwam is also not invited because the 2 pastors among them were not happy about them using the money on their own. So we are now not part of the meetings.
So it's more like a husband and a wife foundation?
Yes. Something like that, which they lure us in. If we knew that is the intention, we will not join. Yeah.
So what did you do afterwards, apart from pulling out? What did you do afterwards?
I'm not pull out. I'm part of the board of directors, but we are not meeting for you to know what is happening. That's the issue. Well, the husband is the secretary who is supposed to inform the chairman to convene a meeting, which he's not doing. Yeah, and we don't know the other where they will get other funds because it's something on the net which individual can also contribute into it. So we don't know what is happening now. We're in dilemma, and we can also know the balance in account currently. Either because it was cash in hand, either they use it to pay themselves off the debts, and then they don't put anything in account, or the money is in account. We can't tell.
Apadi Lodge is located in Narkwor and is alleged to be owned by the Queen Mother and her husband. To get their side of the story, I spoke to the couple on phone and then met with Mr. Moa, the husband, but they refused to talk to TV3. The two will neither deny or confirm the accusations against them, but they told us off camera that that aspect of the case is in court and therefore they will not comment on it. Meanwhile, the survivors are struggling to survive. Kofi Anoma for his daily bread. Grace was promised a prosthesis that has not been fulfilled.
I'm praying to God that He should remind the people so that they would give it to me.
She wants to be a nurse, but not with one leg.
Life is not good for me now.
Patience, on the other hand, is losing her left leg. Doctors say her case is life-threatening. she spent 6 months at the plastic surgery department of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital after the accident.
The lower end of the thigh bone was broken, and then one of the bones in the leg was also broken. And she had this whole area where the tissue was lost. The skin was damaged. So it was a big wound all the way right, to the back. And so when she came in, the orthopedic surgeons worked on her. They put in some metal to try and sort of splint the bones. Okay, so that they would join up together, and then the leg, and then she was put in bed. And then we, the plastic surgeons, also came in, and then we did what was skin grafting. So this area that you see here, okay, it's all, and then at the back, it's all skin grafting. So the skin was taken from the other thigh, okay. So that's the donor side where we took the skin grafts from to patch this up.
Her family could not afford the bills after her first surgery. The cost of that surgery was a little over 10,000 cedis. The Owutu Senya District Assembly paid half of the money. She has an outstanding 5,000 cedi arrears to pay. She has not been regular with checkup, complicating her situation. Her benefactor, the Tufuhini, says he's also getting strained of cash.
Part of the bone has been infected, and that piece of bone is dead. Now, because that piece of bone is dead, when you give the antibiotics, the bacteria sort of go into hiding the dead bone. You understand? And your antibiotics do not get to the dead bone because the dead bone does not have circulation. So your antibiotics go to the bloodstream and don't get to the dead bone.
So what will happen now? It's a dead bone.
So now she will need surgery to remove that dead bone. It's a surgery called sequestrectomy, so that the dead bone is removed, because once the dead bone is not removed, this will be the story to just keep going on and on and on to never stop.
How urgent does she need this?
Yes, I mean, as soon as possible. As soon as that's done, as soon as, because when the infection flares up, you can get it spread into other parts of the body. It may not just stay in the bone, but it can spread up to other parts of the body and can result even in life-threatening infection.
Doctors have not proceeded with the surgery because Patience has not been able to settle her bills. Patience has not lost hope yet. The victims are entitled to an insurance covering the water tanker, but that is yet to be claimed. Depressing is what life has been to these survivors, but they are sure of getting back on their feet. To them, what happened, even though disrupted their life, it was one of a revelers tragedy.